The city with the biggest home price crash in America right now is not Phoenix, not Miami, not Austin. It is Memphis, Tennessee, and number one on our list today may shock you even more. Drive through the right neighborhood in any of these cities, and you will see manicured lawns, new coffee shops, freshly paved streets, and a for sale sign that has been standing in the yard for 87 days. But here is what they are not telling you. Today, we count down the 10 American cities where home prices are tanking the hardest right now in 2026. And number one may be the city that surprises you most. Subscribe now so you never miss the next housing warning. Roll into any new subdivision on Houston's north side, and it still looks like the American dream on a billboard, wide streets, 3-car garages, a hint of pine trees framing every cul-de-sac. But here is what the real estate agents are not showing you. According to the Texas Real Estate Research Center's June 2026 data, Houston home values fell 1.6% year over year, and sellers are quietly accepting far less than they hoped. The reason is bigger than Houston itself. Texas Real Estate Research Center data shows statewide prices have now sat below year-ago levels for 11 consecutive months, with 145,900 active listings competing for the same shrinking pool of buyers. A growing number of sellers in Houston report the same experience list at last year's price weight. Watch the showings slow to a trickle, then cut. One seller after another, discovering the market has quietly moved on without telling them first. If you bought here expecting last year's numbers, here is what happened to your money. The Texas Real Estate Research Center found the average Houston seller this year walked away with $15,500 less than their original asking price, 4.4% gone just to get a deal signed. If Houston's market keeps softening under your feet, how long are you planning to wait before the numbers make the decision for you? Head north of downtown San Antonio, and the story looks identical: new stucco homes, fresh, landscaping a builder's flag, snapping in the wind over an empty model home. But here is what the real estate agents are not showing you. Data from the Texas Real Estate Research Center shows San Antonio home prices slipped 1.7% in the most recent reporting period, a small number with a very unsmall effect on sellers. The cause sits one state highway away from Houston's problem: too much Texas inventory, not enough Texas buyers. The same 11-month statewide slide dragging down Houston is dragging down San Antonio too. A growing number of San Antonio sellers report adjusting their price not once, but twice, before finding a buyer willing to close, a pattern almost nobody was describing here 2 years ago. If you listed your San Antonio home this year expecting last year's price, here is the real math sellers. Here are cutting an average of $18,000, 5.2% off the original list price just to get it sold. The sellers who listed 6 months ago at full price are now accepting $18,000 less. What does that tell you about everyone still holding out? 2 Texas cities down. But the strangest story on this entire list is not about falling prices at all. It is about a market that simply stopped moving. Nashville still looks the way it did during the boom cranes on the Skyline honky-tonks, packed on Broadway, moving trucks parked outside brand new townhomes. But here is what the real estate agents are not showing you. According to Redfin's February 2026 data, the number of homes for sale in Nashville surged 192.69% year over year, from 2,238 listings to 6,562. This is not a price crash. It is something quieter and in some ways scarier, a market that simply stopped clearing. Homes now sit an average of 70 days before selling, according to Redfin, up from 58 days the year before. A seller in Nashville today is competing with 6,562 other listings, nearly 3 times what sellers faced 1 year ago. 2 years ago, homes here received 10 offers in a week. Now, sellers wait 70 days just to get one. If you bought a home in Nashville expecting to sell it as fast as you bought it here, is the real math you are now one listing among 6,562 in a market that used to clear in days and now takes more than 2 months. 1 year ago, this seller had 10 offers in a week. If the market you bought into looked like this today, would you still have signed? You just saw what a frozen market looks like. Now, let us show you what a crashed one looks like. Fort Myers still sells itself the same way it always has: palm-lined streets, Gulf breezes, a condo tower with a pool deck that looks like a postcard. But here is what the real estate agents are not showing you. Wolf Street's analysis of condo-specific market data shows Fort Myers condo prices have fallen 27% from their peak, a number that keeps this so-called paradise looking a lot less golden. The cause is not just interest rates, it is the cost of simply owning the building. Rising HOA fees and stricter reserve requirements for older condo towers across Florida have pushed carrying costs up faster than owners can absorb them. A growing number of condo owners in this market report the same shock: an HOA letter in the mailbox demanding thousands more per year, right as their unit's resale value is falling instead of rising. If you bought a Fort Myers condo near the peak of the market, here is what happened to your money. Wolf Street's data puts the paper loss at 27% of what you paid 27 cents on every dollar gone before you even try to sell. If a condo tower that used to be a retirement dream now comes with an HOA bill bigger than your mortgage, what exactly were you sold? If this is hitting close to home, hit subscribe. We cover these markets every week so you can stay ahead of what is coming. Fort Myers is bad, but we are only just past the halfway point, and it gets worse from here. Fly into LAX on a clear day, and the hills still glitter with $1 million view, pools, palm trees, and houses stacked up the hillside like they always have been. But here is what the real estate agents are not showing you. According to Realtor.com's May 2026 National Report, median listing prices in Los Angeles fell 7.9% year over year in the single most expensive major market in the country. The math here is brutal for a simple reason: the national median home now sits at $429,500, while mortgage rates hover near 7%. In a market where homes start well above $1 million, that combination prices out even buyers who were comfortable a year ago. A growing number of homeowners who bought at the top in Los Angeles report watching their equity shrink on paper every time a new comparable sale closes for less than they paid. If you bought at the median peak in Los Angeles for around $1,500,000, here is what happened to your money. A 7.9% drop on a home that size is not pocket change. It is about $118,500 gone from the number on the listing sheet in a single year. If home prices in the most expensive city in the country are falling 7.9%, what does that mean for every market that is supposed to be different? That was the most expensive city on this list. Now here is what a 20-year reversal actually looks like. St. Petersburg still photographs beautifully pastel condo towers along Beach Drive, sailboats drifting past, at sunset tourists posing for the same skyline shot everyone posts online. But here is what the real estate agents are not showing you. Redfin data shows St. Petersburg condo prices fell 13.2% year over year as of March 2026. Behind that number sits a collision of HOA fees, rising insurance costs, and new condo safety laws that smaller buildings are struggling to afford, pushing some towers towards special assessments their owners never budgeted for. One specific condo tells the story better than any statistic. A unit at One Beach Drive in St. Petersburg sold for $489,000 in 2016. According to Newsweek's reporting on Redfin data, that same unit sold this year for $249,000. If you bought that condo in 2016, here is what happened to your money: $240,000 gone in 10 years on a property that was supposed to be a safe, simple retirement asset. A condo that cost $489,000 in 2016 is worth $249,000 today. 10 years. $240,000. What exactly is the lesson here? You just watched 10 years of equity disappear in Florida. Now watch what happens in the city everyone swore was different. Drive into Austin on a Friday night, and the city still sells the fantasy food trucks, live music drifting from every open doorway, tech company logos glowing on downtown towers. But here is what the real estate agents are not showing you. According to Realtor.com's May 2026 data, Austin's median listing price is down 9.5% year over year, And Redfin's own numbers confirm the same direction, with the median sold price at $542,000, down 2.3% over just the 3 months ending in May. Redfin's own 2026 housing market predictions name Austin directly pointing to insurance costs, natural disaster risk, and the reversal of pandemic-era remote work patterns as reasons this market keeps cooling. A growing number of Austin sellers report waiting 70 days on the market and cutting their price before finding a buyer, nearly double the wait sellers faced back in 2023. If you bought the median Austin home in 2022, here is what happened to your money. You likely paid around $550,000. Redfin's data shows that same home has fallen 17.77% from its peak, worth roughly $452,000 today. That is $98,000 gone in 4 years. More than half of Austin's sellers, 52.31%, have already cut their price. So why would you pay full asking price for the other half? Austin was supposed to be the exception. It was not, and neither is what is happening back in Florida. Cape Coral still looks like the postcard that sold it in the first place. Canals lined with docks, boats idling toward the Gulf, new construction signs on every other block. But here is what the real estate agents are not showing you. Wolf Street's analysis of Case-Shiller condo data shows Cape Coral condo prices have plunged 32% from their peak, putting them below levels first seen in October of 2005. 20 years of appreciation gone in a single reversal. The same forces are behind it rising. HOA fees, insurance premiums averaging $11,759 a year in Florida, 181% above the national average, and special assessments, running anywhere from $10,000 to well over $100,000 per unit. This market has trapped two different generations of buyers. Homeowners who bought near the peak in 2005 and homeowners who bought near the peak in 2022 are now underwater, together in the same buildings at the same time. If you bought a Cape Coral condo at the peak in 2022 for around $450,000, here is what happened to your money. Wolf Street's data suggests that condo is worth roughly $306,000 today. That is $144,000 gone on paper. If condo prices in Cape Coral are below where they stood 20 years ago, what exactly were you being sold in 2022? But we are leaving the Sun Belt behind now. Buffalo, New York up in the Northeast. If you thought this was only a Sun Belt problem, think again. And there is still one city left. Buffalo in early summer looks nothing like its reputation. Green front lawns, century-old brick houses, a downtown quietly rebuilding block by block. But here is what the real estate agents are not showing you. While Realtor.com's May 2026 report shows Buffalo's median list price down 11.6% year over year to $265,000, Redfin's closed sale data tells a different story, sold prices up 3.1% to a median of $205,000. That is not a rounding error. That is a $60,000 gap between what sellers in Buffalo are asking and what buyers are actually willing to pay. And it says everything about a market still pricing homes like it is 2022. A growing number of buyers in Buffalo report the same standoff: sellers unwilling to move off last year's number, buyers unwilling to pay it, and homes sitting on the market while both sides wait the other out. If you are selling in Buffalo right now, here is the real math. Nobody is advertising. The asking price says $265,000. The actual closed sales say $205,000. Drawn out, that $60,000 gap is the real price of refusing to accept what year it actually is. Sellers in Buffalo are asking prices 11.6% above what buyers will actually pay. How long before they stop asking and start accepting? Buffalo's sellers are still pricing homes like it is 2022. But the worst housing market in America right now is not in the Northeast. It is not in the Sun Belt either. Number one is a city almost nobody saw coming. Memphis in the summer still sounds like Memphis blues drifting out of a doorway on Beale Street barbecue, smoke hanging over a quiet Tuesday afternoon, a river town that never tried to be Austin or Phoenix. But here is what the real estate agents are not showing you. According to Realtor.com's May 2026 data, Memphis posted the steepest median list price decline of any major metro in America, down 13% year over year to $304,495. Not Phoenix, not Miami, not Austin, Memphis. Realtor.com senior economist Jake Krimmel put it plainly, Memphis is showing signs of distress, unlike other declining markets. Redfin data shows why inventory up 169.09% year over year, and 22.3% of listings now carrying a price cut more than the year before. Memphis rode the remote work boom of 2020 and 2021 harder than almost anywhere else its size. Now that boom is reversing, and the sellers who bought in are the ones left holding the bill. If you are trying to sell in Memphis right now, here is the math nobody is advertising. Realtor.com puts the median list price at $304,495. But Redfin's closed sale data over the same period puts what buyers are actually paying at only $210,000. That is a gap of $94,495 between the price on the sign and the price that actually changes hands. The worst housing market in America right now is not Austin. It is not Phoenix. If Memphis can end up here, which city do you think is next? Every city on this list shared the same setup prices that ran too far too fast between 2020 and 2022, and a market that assumed rates would come down fast enough to bail out the sellers. Rates did not cooperate. Buyers did not show up. And now the math is doing what the math always eventually does. And here is the twist worth sitting with. Two of the cities on this list, Buffalo and Memphis, do not agree with themselves. The asking price and the selling price in both cities are moving in opposite directions. That gap is not a rounding error. It is what a housing market looks like in the moment sellers stop believing what buyers are telling them. The warning signs were always there. The question is, were you watching? This video is for informational purposes only and does not constitute financial or real estate advice. Always consult a licensed professional before making any investment decisions. Subscribe, share this with someone who needs to hear it, and drop your city in the comments below.